In this WrestleTalk news, Cody Rhodes has left AEW. Cody Rhodes has left AEW. Cody Rhodes has left AEW. And more, but actually it's pretty much entirely Cody Rhodes leaving AEW. Subscribe and enable notifications to Always On for daily wrestling news videos, because if this story isn't proof that backstage wrestling news is often more exciting than the actual wrestling, I don't know what is.
Support WrestleTalk!
Well, Cody Rhodes, one of the founding members of the promotion, one of the company's most senior executives behind the scenes, and holder of its secondary men's title just last month, has publicly left AEW and is reportedly on his way back to WWE. And already, just one day removed, I can exclusively reveal to you the reason why. His neck tattoo. It looks silly. There have been plenty of reports from plenty of very trustworthy sites over the last 24 hours. Fightful, The Wrestling Observer, PW Torch, WrestleVotes, PW Insider, even mainstream media like TMZ and Ariel Helwani. And they all claim a lot of different things that have gone down in the backstage saga of Cody over the last 6 months. But one reason is shared by practically all of them. So the too long didn't read version is this. Money! Cody and Brandi Rhodes left AEW because Tony Khan didn't agree to give them the amount of money they wanted. The too long did read version, however, is life is complicated and has many different facets and causes driving human behavior. Also, WWE really want him to be at WrestleMania 38, so also money again. This is a story with a lot of noise. It's too early to separate fact from fiction, work from shoot, so I've compiled everyone's reports into a rough chronological order and I'll cite sources as best I can as I go. Cody has technically been a free agent since January 1st, 2022, when his 3-year contract that he signed on AEW's founding expired on December 31st. He has been in negotiations with AEW and Tony Khan for the last 6 weeks, trying to agree a new deal. During this time, he continued to wrestle and appear on AEW programming, even holding the TNT title, dropping it to Sammy Guevara at last month's Beach Break in one of his best ever matches, effectively now acting as Cody's swan song from the company. Behind the scenes, other AEW personnel fully expected Cody to agree a new contract. Cody's wife Brandi, who has left with him, was still working on outreach programs, only just forming a new partnership with the American Heart Association last week. They had just had their reality show, Roads to the Top, renewed for a second season on AEW's network TNT. Cody was still working on plans for his character for upcoming Dynamite, with Brandi semi-starting a feud with American Top Team in a disastrous segment just a fortnight back. F4W Online writes of people backstage being heartbroken when they heard the news. Practically everyone was surprised and didn't know anything until the day of, and those that knew Cody's contract had expired said they never thought it would actually lead to him leaving. ESPN's Mike Coppinger even went so far to say Cody only informed Tony Khan he was leaving yesterday morning. Despite rumors from last summer that claimed Cody had become distant from his fellow EVPs Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks, Dave Meltzer reports everyone said the EVPs were getting along the best they have in a long time. They were working last week on projects for the future. But like many things you thought could never happen and suddenly do, Cody leaving seems to be down to long-running fissures that we chose to ignore, despite them almost being in plain sight. Before we get on with the rest of the episode, I'd just like to say a huge thank you to this video's sponsor, Geology, the award-winning men's skincare company, which you can get 50% off from on your 30-day trial by using our links in the video description below. Mwah! Hey, men! Which is practically all of you. As our YouTube analytics show, we are 96% sausage party. You and I both know we don't take care of our skin as much as we should. We're too busy watching the 19 hours of pro wrestling TV put on every week. Thankfully, that's where Geology comes in, with a simple and effective skincare routine customized just for you. All you have to do is fill out a 30-second diagnostic quiz, and they'll give you the exact regimen you need to help fight things like acne, oiliness, wrinkles, and dark or puffy under eyes. Luke and I started using Geology last year, and it was so good I made using it twice a day one of my New Year's resolutions, which is still going strong. Look at it, look at my face. It smells great. It makes my cheeks feel baby-face soft. But the real great part of Geology for me is how easy it is to build a habit out of it. Because we do not rise to the level of our goals, we fall to the level of our systems. And Geology's system is super simple. They customize your products based on what your skin needs. Then the yellow labeled ones are for the morning, and the blue ones just before bed. I know that sounds pretty obvious, but whenever I've tried to get into skincare before, I've ended up stopping out of confusion. Here's some retinol formula you take 3 or 4 times of drops a day. Or use this particular face acid every 3rd Saturday of the month. Geology makes it effortless by having the pump actually deliver the required amount of product for each application. So head to geology.com and take their free skincare quiz to save up to 50% off on your 30 days trial. Or just click the link in the video description below, that's geologie.com, or use the link below to save 50% off. You can start with a complete trial set which contains the Everyday Face Wash, Vital Morning Face Cream, Repairing Night Cream, and Nourishing Eye Cream. So many creams! Every click on that link really helps support this channel as well, so please do check out their diagnostic quiz. It will only take you 30 seconds. Support WrestleTalk. Oh god, it's so soft. And support your skin. Cody's fall in the fans' eyes began last April with his Double or Nothing feud against Anthony Ogogo. Cody had cut a misjudged promo that essentially boils down to America. Yeah. The start a US-UK nationalistic feud against England's Ogogo, a creative direction Cody has since admitted he regrets. Ogogo then suffered an eye injury and needed to take a lengthy time off for surgery, so Tony Khan booked Cody to go over. Despite it not being his decision and the circumstances were understandable, a portion of the audience suddenly turned, pushing the narrative that Cody, like his hero Triple H, buries younger talent. This was in spite of loads of evidence to the contrary, making stars of Darby Allin, Sammy Guevara, MJF, and Jade Cargill, and also building in a stipulation that meant he could never wrestle for the AEW World title ever again. Cody's storylines and characters started to become more of its own island in AEW from that point on. I've taken to calling it the Cody Zone. Stephen Larson called it Cody Island. It's a totally recognized phenomenon and is typified by zany booking, random brandy appearances, and the uphill battle of presenting Cody as a white meat, blue-eyed babyface despite everyone thinking Malachi Black is way cooler. Cody publicly said he'd never turn heel in promos. Behind the scenes, it's because he didn't want to jeopardize his AEW charity work that's so important to him. How can you play a bad guy on TV and then expect children diagnosed with cancer to be happy to see you? Totally understandable. But as his performance became more and more unlinked with the audience reactions, also totally unworkable. This is where Wade Keller of PW Torch comes in. He's heavily implied that 9 months ago, before Cody's character came out of step, Tony Khan would have either signed Cody for the amount he was asking, or at least tried to reach a reasonable compromise on a figure. But since then, 2 things have changed. Number 1, Keller believes Khan grew tired of Cody's rigid determination to stay a babyface. Apparently, Tony told Keller at one point, "Cody still drives numbers, so I'm okay," which Wade took to mean, yeah, he's a headache and every segment is a car wreck, but he's still drawing numbers, so I guess I'm okay with it for now, saying Cody became a bit of a liability. And 2, CM Punk, Bryan Danielson, and Adam Cole came in, and their huge contracts, with Punk's the biggest in the company alongside Jericho's, changed the dynamic for Cody. Before then, Cody was a clear top 4 guy in the promotion, but once the big signings were made in the latter half of 2021, Cody knew and Tony knew that Cody became expendable. Cody no longer had the leverage he needed to remain one of AEW's top paid guys. Keller compares this to how WCW worked, where the top guys had a clause in their contracts that if anyone got paid more than them, their contracts would go up to match it, which is one of the many reasons that company collapsed under the weight of its own wage bill. But the Hogans and the Nashes and then later the Lesners were onto something. If you're not a top paid guy, You're not a top guy. Keller speculates, my understanding is Cody wanted to be, and to a degree, that just wasn't seen by Tony as what he was worth to him in the current landscape. And those weren't Cody's only ambitions. Thanks for your support on Patreon. He can last Sean for longer than you in the ring, and the cleaner, Kenny Shah. You can get your own shoutouts at patreon.com/WrestleTalk. Keller believes that Cody wanted to be more than just an EVP. Unlike Omega and the Bucks, who were happy to use their executive power to book the women's matches and bring in all their friends, Wade thinks Cody wanted to be more involved with being seen as sort of an equal to Tony, and it became clear over time this was Tony's company. This ties into a story from Andrew Zarian. Last October, Forbes released a video profile of Tony, which Tony begins by listing all the things he does in AEW. He's the GM, he's the booker, he's the president. All things, by the way, that are true. But Zarian says he was told this really upset certain people, especially Cody. TMZ have reported a similar angle, writing sources tell us there was a fallout between Cody and Tony recently as Khan's visibility within the company grew, which is very interesting as according to several reports, Cody leaving AEW was actually ultimately Tony's decision. PW Insider write Cody and Tony hit a snag in contract talks a few weeks back due to differences in pay. This led to the end of their negotiations. F4W Online had the talks officially fell apart on Monday morning, where lawyers came in to work out how to remove Cody from his role in the company. But Cody's contract, like Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks, and Chris Jericho's, all those AEW Year 1 guys, reportedly had a 1-year option following the 3-year expiry date. Tony has exercised that for Omega, the Bucks, and Jericho, with their 3-year contracts being extended an extra year through to early 2023. So Dave Meltzer points out Cody could leave because Tony made the decision not to keep him. So the story then becomes more about Tony not thinking Cody was worth the money he was asking for, rather than Cody actively leaving AEW. It's been reported that after this new wave of signings started with Malachi Black all the way through to last week's debuting Keith Lee, with Jeff Hardy and one more big arrival expected, AEW will be more conservative with their budget until their TV deal is hopefully increased in early 2024. But maybe Cody's babyface obsession was also a headache not worth having, in addition to his wife Brandi, who is also intent on wrestling again, a role she has not gotten over in and has received understandable accusations of favoritism. This feeling apparently extends backstage, because while everybody apparently pretty universally likes Cody, Keller claims nobody has anything nice to say about Brandi Rhodes. Whatever has deteriorated between Tony and Cody is obviously incredibly significant, because it doesn't just mean AEW loses one of its very top stars and founders of the promotion. It also means he's likely set to become the first high-profile defection from AEW to WWE. Cody leaving AEW was immediately followed by numerous reports that he was heading to WrestleMania, baby! Woo! Woo! So many reports, it's hard not to see it as a coordinated effort by WWE to undermine AEW. WrestleVotes tweeted, spoke to a source just now that fully anticipates WWE coming to an agreement with Cody Rhodes. Unbelievable. Andrew Zarian reported there's no contract signed yet, but WWE have already started waving their WWE flag in victory with this behind the scenes. I have never seen a celebration of sorts with someone that hasn't signed yet. Apparently they're happy about how bad a founder leaving for WWE looks for AEW. A mainstream MMA reporter, Ariel Helwani, he of close relationship with WWE's president Nick Khan, tweeted, I'm told Rhodes and WWE are in fact talking about him returning to the organization in the near future. Do not mistake this story as a sudden happening. The machinations of dark forces seem to be at play here. PW Insider add Cody has been in contact with WWE since late last year. ESPN write WWE knew about Cody's announcement possibly even before AEW did. And Keller is reporting all the plans for Cody's WWE homecoming are already in place, where he could report to the Performance Center as early as this weekend, debut on Raw or SmackDown as early as next week with no non-compete clause in place, and be set for a major match at WrestleMania 38. Vince McMahon apparently sees Cody's defection as a big deal, and he's going to get a big push. Shine up the spandex, pal! We're bringing back Stardust, but also, that could all be a work. What do you think? Is this for real? Let me know in the comments. Mull it over while you watch every Elimination Chamber entrant ever ranked on Parts for No.
The Elimination Chamber is one of WWE's greatest creations, a unique concept combining the elimination aspect of Survivor Series with the violence and confinement of Hell in a Cell, while also including every WWE fan's favorite thing, counting. They really love to count along.